Whew, okay, alright, this is gonna be good. Reinvigorated, let's do this! You might seem like I'm very excited to talk about Secre today, who doesn't really have much screen time in the story. Well, she does have a lot of screen time in the story, but it's mostly like 98% of it is as a bird, because Secre, turns out, is a bird and a girl, so that kind of makes her a bird girl kind of character. Like, we're going extra species with this. Actually, hold on, let me check the list really quick to see if I'm attracted to that particular kind of extra species. Okay, let's see here. Bunny girls, spider, minotaur, zombies. Oh yeah, there we are, bird girls. I am not attracted to them. Alright, no problems there then. Okay, so, today we're talking about Secre. After this, we'll be doing Yami's video, and that's like the last member of the Black Bulls that I would like to say. However, in one of the most recent chapters of Black Clover, no spoilers, but it's looking like, yeah, there's in fact another member of the Black Bulls that we haven't known about up until this point, and so until we find out more about that particular individual, yeah, we can't really talk about them yet. Although at some point we'll be, making a video about that person as well to round us all out. But for right now, we got Secre's video, and then we got Yami's video, and then we're done! So, Secre Swallowtail. I've actually heard her name pronounced two different ways, because I'm not really super into the Black Clover anime. I watched up until, like, right around the time the elves were reincarnated, and then I just kind of dropped off watching it. So, I went back to get her name pronunciation, and in the Japanese, it seems to be very clearly, like, Secre, or Sekure. In the English, it seems at some points they're calling her Secre. And I'm like, Secre, that doesn't sound right. So I'm just gonna go with Secre, not Sekire, Secre. Although even in that particular comparison, there is something to be made there, because Sekire, the anime, the like literal name of Sekire, it's a bird, and it's a wagtail. And then you have Secre that can transform into an anti-bird, a bird, and her last name is Swallowtail. Wagtail, Swallowtail. So there seems to definitely be a common theme of bird relations here. I wonder if it's also a coincidence that her last name happens to be Swallowtail, and she ended up spending about 5 centuries as a bird. Like, if my last name meant giraffe, and I was cursed to turn into an animal at some point, it would have to be a giraffe. I guess that's logic in anime. Alright, so as I said, Secre goes actually by a different name. She actually goes by the name of Nero whenever she was first introduced. She was actually introduced in, like, the second chapter of Black Clover, when Asta went to the capital to do his Magic Knight exam, and those anti-birds are flying all over him, and the birds are just inherently, they flock to people that have less magical power. So, like, for example, a child that doesn't have much mana, they would look at, like, a lot of birds would fly around that person. Somebody really scary, like if Nozel was walking down the street, the birds would stay clear of him because he's got insane magical power, right? Well, of course, Asta walks in, and the birds are, like, not only flocking around him, they're pecking at him from every angle, they're biting his cheeks, they're pulling on his clothes, because he just exudes anti-magic, essentially. And Secre happens to be one of those anti-birds. Looks a little bit different from the other ones, and just kind of perches herself on top of Asta's head. That's actually one of the things that she actually says that she enjoys. Like, I prefer heads that are really bushy, have a lot of hair, and are quite soft, like a nest. Eventually, just kind of tags along with Asta wherever he goes, to the point where they were about to, like, go to the dungeon and everything to fight, with the Diamond Kingdom's at and all that stuff, and Luck was there, and Secre just pops up. Now, at this point, Secre is capable of speaking while in bird form, but chooses not to do that for a number of reasons, I'm sure. Just like, okay, she kind of has, like, a secret mission. She has to kind of wait until, like, a certain time happens, until the elves reincarnate, and the time it comes to resurrect the first Magic Emperor and all that stuff. So, yeah, she doesn't really speak for that reason. Also, it would just freak people out. We saw what happened with Finral when Secre finally decided to speak to him, in bird form. Yeah, it's like, it's too weird. People get, like, freak out, alright? And it draws unnecessary attention to herself, which is definitely something she doesn't want, okay? Her job is to lay incognito and just play the role of just, I am a bird, and I do bird things. That is my one thing that I do. for 5 centuries. 5 centuries! I've eaten nothing but nuts and berries! I want a hamburger! You know, like, that would be kind of, like, difficult, right? But, she can't turn back, by the way. That's something that is lifted when she does resurrect the first Magic Emperor, that she can now switch back and forth between her anti-bird form and her human form. But before that, before the seal was released, she was literally stuck as an anti-bird, okay? She could still speak, like I said, but she preferred not to. So, they had to give her a name, and so they didn't know her real name, and so Luck decided, I think, actually came up with the name Nero, which just means black. So, you know, black bird, you know, anti-magic bird, and then, of course, Asta, his whole thing is like black divider and all this stuff, like anti-magic kind of goes along with the color of black. So they decided to go with that, okay. And also Nero, because maybe like Emperor Nero, you know, from Rome. Okay, maybe we'll go with that too. All right, fine, it's cool, it's a cool name, right? And Secre seemed to be okay with it. You know, she was just like, all right, fine, we'll go with that. I've had shittier names in the past. I mean, she's probably not the first time somebody's probably thought, oh, what an adorable little anti-bird. Let's name her whatever, like Fluffles or whatever. And she's like, oh, God, this is the life I live. You know, like 5 centuries, a lot of stuff happened. So it was very clear from early on in Black Clover that there was something more to Nero than just being a bird. You know, it was very clear that the bird had intelligence. The bird could definitely be aware of the circumstances that was around, you know, the Black Bulls and the enemies they were facing. And, you know, still a bird, so couldn't exactly just, like, swoop in and drop, like, death magic on the enemy or whatever. But could definitely help out. Like, for example, when they were in that dungeon with the Diamond Kingdom and everybody, you know, and they got, the Asta got knocked through a wall, Nero landed and, like, pointed at the wall where that next anti-magic sword was located, and Nero's like, hey, idiot, over here, there's a hole in the wall, there's a new sword, pick it up and, you know, kill the diamond dude, you know, like, it's like, so it was very clear, like, Nero was, like, attuned to this certain stuff, being able to sense magic stones and, like, find them and stuff like that. So we definitely knew the bird was intelligent, and the entire fan base was like, okay, something weird's gonna go on with this bird, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see, alright? So this continues on. Nero is pretty much present through every single major story arc, either in the background or on Asta's head, like, watching everything from a distance, just casually observing. Doesn't seem to prefer to leave Asta's side, though. Stays behind Asta, or on top of his head, to be a better term. That might just be because, you know, oh, well, he has, you know, the anti-magic sword, and that's, like, Leek's ability, and that's unusual, so I should definitely keep an eye on this kid. Or it might also just be because of the bushy hair. Asta has a lot of bushy hair that, you know, she can settle in. Like, okay, this feels rather comfortable. I suppose I will sleep here this evening, I suppose. So there was a bit of a connection between the two there in that regard. But finally, during the climax of the reincarnation of the elves arc, we get the reveal of who Secre, who Nero really is. And so this is at the point when the devil Zagred has finally revived. I don't believe we ever get his name in the actual arc. We find out his name actually quite recently in the manga. I think it's name dropped by Dante's devil. You know, that the name of the devil that attacked, you know, during the reincarnation arc, that was Zagred. Well, anyway, Zagred revives, and he's got the 5-leaf clover, and he's got all of that crazy, the master plan for 5 centuries ago, and the whole thing with leaked and pottery and everything like that's going on. And so this is the moment. This is the point where Nero, Secre is finally like, oh my god, this is it. Finally. Freaking finally. Maybe I could stop living as a bird, okay? But no, she's got more important stuff to go on. So she pecks at Finral to get him to wake up, because Finral is still beaten to crap after his fight with Langris and everything. And so then she finally speaks. She's like, hey, bring me, you know, like dumbass, bring me over to the demon bones out by Haji Village. I need to go over there immediately. And Finral's like, you can talk! Why? It's like, yeah, I know. I'm a talking bird. That's great. Can we go? We have, like, important shit to do. Let's go, okay? I've been waiting for this for 5 centuries. I'm like, okay, fine. So Finral takes her, and they go on top of the demon bones, and that's, of course, where the statue, what was thought to be just the statue or a monument of, I believe his name, okay, his name is taken from the French word for light, or I'll just say first magic emperor, okay? So it's not actually a statue, it is, like, quite literally his physical body that was sealed, and using the magical stones that were able to be used by Zagred, you know, to revive him and everything like that, and, you know, create the elf reincarnation, they use the same magic stones. Finral places them inside of the statue because, you know, Nero cannot, because she's a bird, so places the stones inside the magic emperor. He gets revived partway, part of his body is still kind of stony and stuff, so it's not a perfect resurrection, but he's back to thinking speaking, and, he can activate his magic and all that stuff. And at the same time, Nero's curse is also broken, because Nero, Secre, also used forbidden magic, and that kind of resulted in the situation with her having horns, kind of the same deal that anybody that deals with, like, devil magic, like Asta gets the horns, they're Weg, and Dante has the horns and all stuff like that. So she's used forbidden magic before, and she was turned into an anti-bird for that reason, but now that the seal has been released from the first Magic Emperor, she comes back into her, human form as well, which is this form, the form of a 17-year-old girl. Now, Finral, of course, was extremely ecstatic about that, but she's got some major bags under her eyes, which, you know what? 5 centuries stuck as a bird, can you really blame her? Can you really blame her? Like, oh god, I have flesh again, actual human flesh. Oh, I have such a headache. That was such an exhausting 500 years. Like, more than it actually sounds, right? And so, we also find out her backstory. What exactly happened 500 years ago with the elves, and with Leet, and with Zagreed the devil, and with the first Magic Emperor, and all that stuff. So, the story with Secre, she was a servant to the first Magic Emperor, okay? Everybody else kind of looked down on her because her magic, I believe she did have some, like, noble status, but her magic wasn't really that impressive to a lot of people. Her magic was just the ability to open things and close things. And so when you just describe it like that to people, it doesn't really sound all that impressive. It's like, oh, you can open a chest and close a chest and open a chest and close it again. Congratulations, you've uncovered the magical secret of hinges. By the way, this is the secret Green Lantern. Oh no, I dropped the White Lantern ring. The Green Lantern box, of course. But, at first glance, it doesn't seem to be all that impressive. But no, turns out Secre's magic is unbelievably powerful. Because no, she doesn't just, like, you think of it like opening and closing in the simple sense of like a chest or a drawer or a door. But no, it's the literal essence of opening and closing. It's sealing magic. Sealing magic of, like, the highest variety. And it doesn't necessarily have to be an animate object, like the literal sense of opening and closing. She can seal your wounds. So if you're bleeding, she can seal the injury to stop you from bleeding. If you are about to die, she can seal you, locking you in stasis, where, she sealed him into that statue form to be awoken at a later date. Now, it was a very, very long time, and the seal, like, wore down with time, and it wasn't perfect. So when he revived, after 500 years of being in, like, stasis, he was still kind of like, stony and stuff like that. But still, the magic worked. It was able to revive him, and he was still able to think and use his magic and all that stuff just like he was before. So that's the potency of this power. Any sort of restraint that you could put her in, handcuffs, wrap chains around her, she can break all of that with inverse release. Just be like, oh, handcuffs, okay, I open them. And then I lock them, and then I open them again. I can do that whenever I want. So sealing magic in, like, the sense of, like, sealing Zagreed the devil, like, in an actual barrier, she can do that. Oh, the first Magic Emperor got his arm lopped off during the battle, and so she also has healing magic in conjunction with her sealing magic, so she can, like, literally pick up his arm and just stick it back like, I am closing the wound, sealing it so it's back on you again. She could do all that kind of stuff, okay? So at first, she didn't really think highly of her own magic, because nobody else really thought highly of her own magic, but when she started working with the first Magic Emperor, at first she kind of dreaded it. She kind of thought, like, oh my god, now I gotta take orders from this prince, and, this royal piece of crap, probably, and, he's just all posh and all that stuff. I'm just gonna hate this. But it turns out he was completely, the opposite. He was a really nice person, and, was really interested in Secre's magic, and be like, oh my god, you have this incredibly powerful sealing magic. This is crazy. How come no one's ever noticed this before? Even you don't know how crazy this magic is. This is crazy. Want to help me with my research? And like, oh, yes, sure, okay. And so they work together to create a bunch of magical items, and they have this little adventure together, and I don't know if it, like, got, like, to the point where it was, like, romantic. There's certainly, like, overtones with that there, but at the same time, it's just like, oh my god, you were, like, a really good friend, where you were someone that, like you looked at me and you didn't look down on me just because you're the prince and I'm a servant, and you also, took great interest in my magic and helped me to develop it to a greater level that I never even thought possible. So I have a lot, like, I'm indebted to you. That's definitely something that Secre feels for the first Magic Emperor. Okay, so it all kind of goes to crap when Leaked gets married, okay? Leaked gets married, and then at the wedding, I think we all know what happens at the wedding. Zagrid makes his move, seals up the Magic Emperor, and then, Secre shows up, releases the seal. Hurry, we gotta get to the wedding! Oh my god, it's all on fire! Crap, now Leak's a giant demon, okay, now the magic item we created for good is being used for evil! Shit! Could this day get any worse? Yes! As a matter of fact, Lumiere, it can. It can indeed. So, Leaked turns into a giant demon. Lumiere ends up killing him, or, stopping his rampage. He gets sealed into a statue. Zagrid gets sealed, waiting for his, ultimate comeback, because he takes the magic stones and, programs them, for eventually the Elf reincarnation 500 years later. Secre gets turned into a bird, and, that's where shit stayed for about 5 centuries. And then eventually, when the whole thing happened in the present storyline with the Black Bulls collecting the magic stones, and then the resurrection, and then, Patri was there in the Eye of the Midnight Sun, and all the stuff he did, and I don't need to go through that. That's just the plot of Black Clover right there. But, that was the backstory between them. And after the fight was over, because Secre helped as well, reattaching the arm, she sealed Asta's injuries so he could launch that final attack, Black Divider! Whoosh! And then slice Zagrid's heart right in half, and then get rid of that devil for good, and then Asta's devil kind of shit-talks Zagrid a little bit, yeah, hey, senpai, how you doing? Who are you? Don't matter. You're dead! And then gets rid of him. The first Magic Emperor turns, back and is like, okay, well, looks like my time here is done, Secre. Stay with these Magic Knights. They are definitely, worthy of being called, of that title. It seems everything in the kingdom's working out. Okay, I'll be gone. And so he leaves, and then it's just Secre there, and then it's like, hey, want to be a member of the Black Bulls? I got really nowhere else to go, so I guess. Secre always gives off this very apathetic kind of attitude. She's not tsundere or anything like that. I don't like you, Baka. Nothing like that. It's just that she's very apathetic. She's not very emotive. And she's never really been very emotive. The most emotive she's ever been was with the first Magic Emperor. But even then, it wasn't like she's super expressive. Oh my god, thank you so much. She just doesn't do that. But she still cares for people. She still, will stay by people's sides and protect them and help them with her spells and everything as much as she could. And cares about her comrades and everything like that. She spent 500 years as a damn bird, okay? It's just it's gonna take a few years to probably get over that at least. But right now, she is a bona fide swallow-tailed member of the Black Bulls, and I hope to see more from her in the future. Something else to bring up, and this was something that was mentioned in the anime, only kind of hinted at, implied in the manga, really. When Julius comes back at the end of the arc, and he's like, oh yeah, guys, by the way, I'm not dead. I'm a 13-year-old kid, but I'm not dead. I'd be like, that's cool. How did you do that? And Julius explains, well, it's because a long time ago, I discovered this weird, rare, forgotten magical object called Swallowtail. And it was through Swallowtail that I was able to basically seal my magic in the mark on my forehead, seal my time magic in there, so that if I died, the time magic could resurrect me. Now, it was imperfect because I only had enough magic sealed up to bring me back at age 13, so that means I'm really weak in this state, but I'm not dead, so that's definitely a positive, and I'll still, grow older just like everybody else will. It'll just take a lot of time to get back to the point that I already was at when I was in my 40s. That Swallowtail has the same last name as Secre Swallowtail, and I think in the anime it was directly stated, that was a magic item that Secre and the Magic Emperor created. So, yeah, I think it's the same basic idea there, that it was a magic item. It was just never mentioned expressly in the manga, but it has the same last name as Secre, so of course it is. So that's the case. So Secre also kind of helped so Julius didn't have to die, so that was definitely a good thing there. But, yeah, that's Secre. Not really much more to go off of. I'm honestly surprised. Wow, I did manage to get to the 20-minute mark. I have to cut some stuff out there because I messed up a few times, but still, that was a lot longer than I figured I would be able to get with her. But, anyway, moving on. We've finally done all the Black Bulls, so now we have unlocked Yami. Next video will be Yami Tsukihiro. I think that's the one everybody's really expecting. And then after that, we'll be done for a while until we find out who the hell that other guy is, or other woman is, or who it turns out to be. And then after we find out more about that individual, we'll do a video about them. But for right now, we got one video left. See you back here in 8 months, everybody. Tekking, signing out.